can schedule several different levels of astrological service through my services page, which you will find linked above. In addition to that, I have an online academy on my website. The Pulse of the Universe Academy of Vedic Astrology is available for you to explore at this link. So we've all heard the term an eye-opening experience. Truth of the matter is that when we go through like really massive trials, harsh difficulties, they're no fun, right? I was going to use a different word, but we never know what age group is listening. But I think you kind of get the general idea. It's no fun. It causes, harshness to us and hardship to us. And we don't have, the desire to really experience that. And so it's those painful moments that begin to awaken us. With Ashlesha Nakshatra, which is where this particular new moon is occurring, Ashlesha Nakshatra is related to serpent energy, right? And serpents can be poisonous. Serpents also relate to symbolically potential. So they transform, they become luminescent. So we can take those like harsh challenges that we go through and we can, wallow around in our own self-pity for really long periods of time. Or we can recognize that through those like fires of difficulty that we've just been through, something else is opening up to us. When we go through that purification, we have a clean slate. A clean slate can lead to a wide vista of opportunity. But if we then have that opportunity that, opens up on our visual horizon or our emotional horizon or our mental horizon, are we going to latch on to one aspect of that vision and get so deeply engrossed in it that once again we come up with some idea that we think is like, the be-all and end-all of the situation, let ourselves become engrossed in that idea, caught up in it, unable to see anything else than our own desire and need to push through that concept to its realization, right? Are we going to then allow ourselves in such scenarios to ignore that nagging little doubt that, kind of pops up in the back of our mind every once in a while, which sometimes is the voice of fear and at other times is the voice of reason? Our main problem is we get caught up in that confusion of whether we're listening to the voice of reason or whether we're indeed kind of tuning into the voice of our fears. But it's never really a bad idea to at least momentarily listen to that voice until you're able to weigh in your own heart whether you're actually acting from your heart or acting from your fears. So are we going to ignore that little voice that comes to the surface that's telling us, hey, maybe something isn't right? And are we going to allow all these very same things, those, nagging little doubts which occasionally surface, or that concept of going, this could be a potential or this may not be a potential? Are we going to let all of those derail us? Or are we going to approach each moment, one moment at a time? One moment at a time. I think it's that latter, at least in the present moment, which is a really excellent approach, because we allow ourselves to remember that experience of that difficulty without going so deeply into the pain that we, relive a harsh moment. Instead, we remember the difficulty. We awaken once again to the awareness that it is open for us. We, hear that, nagging little voice. We listen to its wisdom for a moment and we go, nah, or we go, right, maybe that makes a lot of sense. But we have a choice in every single moment to renew our experience, right? And to tap into the potential that is on open to us, that is on offer to us, in each particular moment. Sometimes, though, we also find ourselves getting so caught up in several different I want to say lines of awareness, right? Or several different pathways that we could go down. And we get so caught up in those pathways that we become immobilized. Sometimes it's really boils down to, and I know that this is going to sound very confusing, but I'm going to say it anyway. Sometimes it boils down to the concept that really there's not necessarily a right or a wrong path to go down. There's only exploring your options, going in a certain direction. And then when you feel like it's going, maybe horribly wrong, sure, you can kind of, punish yourself, give yourself a hard time if you really want to, or you can go, right, maybe I need to go explore this other path. And occasionally we get into that position where when we've explored this path and the other path, we need to come back to center and recognize, what do all these paths have in common? Maybe it doesn't matter quite as much if it's this one. Maybe it doesn't matter quite as much if it's that one. Maybe what matters is the essence of that. And maybe that's the lesson that I'm being taught in this moment. And maybe if I recognize that lesson in this moment and I commit in the direction of what that lesson is teaching me, it will take me to the next. And if I can approach that moment with the very same awareness, rather than getting caught up in pathways, rather than getting caught up in obsessions, rather than getting attached to the way my ego wants to see it, if I can take each of those moments, one moment at a time, if I don't like the direction that it's leading me, make that alteration, make that change, at least at this particular moment in time, maybe that's what I'm meant to do. And that is exactly what you're needing to focus on at this particular moment. You can take the fast and the furious approach. You can get angry with yourself. You can get frustrated that, whatever situation it is that you're trying to develop isn't developing in quite the way that you want it to. Or you can kind of go, hey, it's not always the destination. And sometimes it's not always the path. Sometimes it's that moment of awareness. That moment of awareness in which something, comes into your mind or into your heart even. And if you're ignoring that and you're repetitively ignoring it, then it can come to you in a rather harsh moment if you don't decide to heed what it's trying to tell you. If you are open to each of those moments when they come, yes, sometimes even the difficulty that comes with it or the ease that comes with it, there's a lesson for you in each moment, right? Sometimes, there's no this is the way you need to lead your life. There's no, that is the way you need to lead your life. Life is always altering. We're always evolving, and we have to be willing to recommit ourselves in each particular moment to whatever it is that we're meant to gain from each moment, one moment at a time. So with this new moon in Ashlesha Nakshatra, be careful how deeply you're getting caught up. Be careful how much you're getting engrossed. Be careful of getting so confused by the wide vista of opportunity that you can't commit to one direction at all. And at the same time, take it all one step at a time. And if you could use a little bit of help with that process, or indeed any process that you're going through, once again, I'll mention that I offer several different levels of astrological service, all available through my astrological services page, which you will find linked above. That's going to do it for this look at the new moon in Ashlesha Nakshatra, which takes place on the 8th of August, 2021. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.